Journey's sixth album, Departure, actually led to a major departure within the band. Departure was a very important album for the band because it had a major hit and it led to some major changes in the band's dynamic following this album. Welcome back to Pixel Positive Music. This is episode 6 of our 13-part series covering the band Journey, one album at a time. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button below so you can be made more aware of whenever we put out new content. We're covering Journey right now, and I'm going to be covering lots and lots of other music. My goal here is to create a community where we can all just have fun talking about music in a positive way. We all have different opinions, but it's so much fun when we can just talk about it. So, let's get into Journey's sixth album, Departure. Departure was another step into more radio-friendly music overall. This was the next step in the band's journey, no pun intended, towards becoming like a commercial powerhouse that really started after this album. We had some major changes in the band after this album. I think ultimately they led the band to more success, but I think that this is just it's an important album in Journey's catalog when you really stand back and look at it. So before we get into the tracks, I think it's actually important to talk about the lineup here. We had Steve Perry on vocals, Neil Schon, of course, Ross Valerie on bass, Steve Smith on drums, and then Gregg Rolie on keys and backing vocals. And Gregg Rolie, this was his final album with the band. Gregg Rolie was one of the founding members. He's only one of only 3 founding members left, other than Ross Valerie and Neil Schon at this time. And Gregg Rolie really drove this band in the beginning. He was the primary vocalist before Steve Perry joined. And even after Steve Perry joined, he still had a prominent role doing duets and backing vocals. But this was his final album with the band. And I don't know if I doubt the album is named Departure for that reason, but I do think it is fitting that this album would culminate in Gregg Rolie's departure. They did a soundtrack shortly after this that he did do some work on, so it wasn't his final recording. But as far as major studio albums, this was Gregg Rolie's final album with the band. Right off the gate, this album just takes off running. Like I said in one of my previous videos, I've really noticed that Journey typically starts an album with a bombastic, like heavy hitter track. And that trend continues here. Our opening track is Any Way You Want It. Everybody knows this song. It's a massive hit. It's a concert staple. It's a radio staple. We see it all the time. We hear it all the time. It's a great song. It's one of their finest songs. It's like a perfect structure. We get those strong opening vocals that everyone can sing along with. We get incredible melodic guitars from Neil and amazing percussion from Steve Smith that just really carries this song. It's Any Way You Want It. It's hard to even figure out what to say because it's just such a great track that's pretty self-explanatory. You hear it and it just catches your ear immediately, and you can't help but just sing along with this one. It's a trend that would continue with a lot of Journey's hits, I think, on the next couple albums, but I think that really, this song perfectly represents Journey at their best. The album makes a huge shift, however, after Any Way You Want It. We transition to Walks Like a Lady, which is a nice jazzier song. And the keyboard riff is very jazzy. It's very organ-like. It's very progressive. I think it's notable that we're hearing this type of playing right here because we don't really get a lot of that from Jonathan Cain, Gregg Rolie's replacement. Cain plays just more piano and stuff like that. But Gregg Rolie, such a great keyboard player, and we really hear that here. Someday Soon is a wonderful duet between Gregg Rolie and Steve Perry. If you guys know anything about me, it's that I love these duets from these guys, and this is, I believe, the last one. It's really, really a shame that we don't get that type of sound from them. Just like those other songs, it highlights the power of these singers. It contrasts their vocals, and for me, these songs really serve as like a bridge between Journey's first era and their later era with Steve Perry. So yeah, Someday Soon is a wonderful track. I then, notably, Gregg Rolie plays harmonica on Precious Time. We get lots and lots of harmonica playing from him, which is just awesome. Such a different like instrument. It was pretty unexpected hearing that. I hadn't heard that song in quite a while. So it's pretty cool hearing harmonica on this. I think overall this album has a very tight sound. The band is growing more confident in their abilities, I think. The production is so tight on this album. So it's an issue we've been having with some of the newer Journey tracks from Freedom. The vocals are kind of muddy, or some of the instruments are just not really as clear as they should be. Not a problem here. We get very clean production. Everything shines when it needs to shine. Everything stands out when it needs to stand out. And it works great. Some other notable tracks, we had Where Were You, which is a great rocking track. It was a live opener at the time, I believe. Very catchy refrain, great guitar riff, good piano work. Just a great, well-rounded rock track from the band. And then we had I'm Crying, a very slow, a much slower song with very good guitar work from Neil. It's absolutely insane that at the point of this album, 1980, Neil Schon was 26 years old. And he's playing guitar like the way he does on all these tracks, but I'm Crying, it really stood out to me. It's just phenomenal. I'm 26. I can imagine playing guitar like that. So it's just incredible. And then a couple other standout tracks on this one. Line of Fire. The studio version is good. The live version is awesome. Go to Greatest Hits Live. Listen to Line of Fire. It's a really fast, frenetic, like energized track, especially when the band plays it live. I mean, it's just great. It's great here. I think it's better live. And then we have Stay a While, which is a beautiful ballad. Pretty short song. Usually in the live performances, it was tied, I believe, to Lights. But it's such a great little ballad from the band, and great vocals from Steve Perry. I mean, I think Departure is a pretty straightforward album from the band. I actually don't really have as much to say about it as I thought I would. It's a great album. I think it's definitely better than Evolution. I don't think it's quite as good as Infinity still. But it's a great album. It's a great note for Gregg Rolie to end his time in the band on. I mean, yeah, it just works so well. I love it. I love Departure. It's a fun album. If you guys have not listened to Departure, go listen to Departure. It's right before everything just goes crazy for this band. So it's kind of the end of that more experimental era, I guess, where we get fun songs like Walks Like a Lady and stuff like that. Not to say their later music isn't fun. We just get more interesting, more experimental stuff. So it seems like the band might be moving in that direction with Freedom, where we get some different sounds. So we'll just have to see how it turns out. But what do you guys think of album number 6, Departure? Do you guys like it? How do you guys think it falls in the big picture? Let me know in the comments. I've really loved interacting with you guys. I absolutely appreciate all the support on this channel. Cannot believe that my review of Don't Give Up on Us is pushing towards 800 views. That is absolutely mind-blowing to me. When I started this channel, I almost didn't start it. I deal with a lot of anxiety and didn't really know a lot about making videos. I just wanted to talk about music. I love music. I listen to music a lot more analytically than a lot of people that I know. I love to just sit down and really dig into the music. So when I see those kinds of numbers on the views, and I see that I'm approaching like 25 subscribers, I mean, it's just awesome. It means a lot to me. And so I'm very thankful for all the support that I've been getting. And if you guys haven't, hit that subscribe button and join the community so you don't miss out on anything, because we are going to cover so much music on this channel. So until next time, guys,